Are the Miami Hurricanes ready for this big matchup on Saturday against Texas A&M? Whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. And thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen. For the everydayers, we're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege or enter promo code LockedOnCollege for a free water bottle with any purchase. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. You guys know that I love the weekly stock report, and we try to give you not the obvious advice, right? Like your Uncle Louie down the block. Like, kid, got a hot stock tip for you. Come here. You heard of Apple? They don't make fruit. They make computers. You want to buy some stock? They make iPhones and iPods. No, we try to be a little bit more on the ball than that. And we have the truth teller with us, Bruce Warner. We're 1-0, Bruce. Miami got it done against Miami. We're on to Texas A&M. How are you?
Yeah, no surprise. We thought this was good. Listen, I said 38-17. I was right about the 38.
Yeah, I said 35-10. So we were both there. We were close. We were both close.
They were horrible. I thought their quarterback was abysmal. But we're past that game.
Bruce, we made him look horrible. We made him look no time to throw. We made him look horrible.
Yeah, we did. Good pressure by our defense. It was good.
All right, so I want to go through, Bruce, first, whose stock I believe is rising heading into this matchup with Texas A&M. And, of course, coming off a 38-3 win, you've got more stocks rising than falling this week. Some of the names I'll throw out there. Mark Fletcher had a sensational true freshman debut at running back. Matt Lee, the center, had an awesome debut, and he's got a nasty streak in him when he blocks downfield. Jafari Harvey, I thought, was the best of Miami's pass rushers. Branson Dean might have been the best defensive tackle, Bruce, on the team so far. Yeah. Kiko Mauigoa, the middle linebacker. Wes Bissaint had a sack in a big game. Dylan Joyce, the punter, I felt pretty good about him. Jacolby George, Emory Williams, who got into the game late. Don Chaney Jr. At running back. Nigel Kelly, did you see him in coverage? He nearly had an interception. So those are some of the guys, Bruce, who I feel like the stock is rising, if not soaring, heading into this second game. Yeah,
actually, all four running backs were pretty damn good. And the offensive line. So, I remember at the very beginning, I got ripped to pieces because I made comments about things and people kept calling me Mr. Negativity. I'm not negative. I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to be positive. But there are things that are out there. And, one of the things we will talk about is Leonard Taylor. And I kept on telling you, don't say anything about his draft status for next year because he's got to prove it. And I have some thoughts about him, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But and the same thing, I guess, for James Williams. But listen, overall, it was a good win. First game, Van Dyke had the injury to his hand or his fingers, so he wasn't throwing any long balls. They gave the short stuff, and we took advantage of it.
Yeah.
But this is a whole new animal come Saturday at 3:30. This is entirely different. This team is loaded with talent.
Absolutely. And let's talk more about Leonard Taylor because, Bruce, let's get to whose stock is falling. And to me, it's a pretty short list. In addition to Leonard Taylor, I'd say Jaleel Skinner is on there. He didn't play against Miami, Ohio. Mario Cristobal confirmed he's not injured. Mario said about Skinner on Monday, quote, he's working his way into the lineup. He's a good football player, and he's working to get more reps. And I remember, I think it was last week, Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, said that Skinner needs to put on more weight. So the second-year tight end, he can be a weapon, but he's just not there yet, apparently. And then, yes, Leonard Taylor, Bruce, who only played in 15 snaps, and he picked up a personal foul penalty. This is what Lance Guidry, the defensive coordinator, said about Taylor, quote, he's still getting in shape to where he can last throughout games. Through the course of the season, his rep count will go up. And we need him to play well because Leonard can really be a force inside. Guidry also said, with his 15 snaps, he played as much as we needed him, he said about Leonard Taylor. Listen, Bruce, I think it's fair. It's fair to be a little bit down on that game, okay? Yeah.
So here's my thoughts. And again, I said this all offseason. This game on Saturday could be his career.
Wow.
This is a national showcase. People already know he's made comments about him not being in shape and not playing hard on every down. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Then he gets this ridiculously dumb penalty, yelling at referees. You don't think the NFL is aware of this stuff? And now he has a chance to make it back to that area in his career where people are looking at him as a potential star. This is the game. If he craps out Saturday, I don't even know if he's going to get drafted. He's probably going to have to come back next year because they're not stupid, these NFL scouts. And what he did the other day by yelling at a referee is a personality flaw. It's a problem. And so he has a chance now. But when you're telling me that Gigsby said he's working his way into shape,
let me add this in though. Let me add this in though, because they keep health statuses very close to the vest. Leonard Taylor did miss the spring with an injury. I want to be fair here, Bruce, because that could be something. He might not be 100% healthy. There could be something lingering for him. I want to throw that out there to be fair to him. When you talk about him working his way back, he could be working his way back from injuries we don't know about.
Yeah, I guess that could be. And I don't know either. But I do know one thing. You can't do stupid things like he did. And if you're going to play 15 plays only, you better bust your ass. And I didn't see that either.
Okay.
So I don't want any excuses about he only played 15 plays. He wasn't out there on every single play gassed. How gassed could he be coming off an injury? If you're not ready to play, don't play at all. Right. So again, I'm not calling him out, but I am saying this is crucial for him.
Yeah.
He has got to shut people up this Saturday and be dominant and be every 5-6 plays he's in there making plays, and so everybody sees it. I don't care if you got 15 guys blocking you. You don't think that Wilfork, you don't think that Sapp, you don't think that Russell, you don't think that Cortez. I was there. I saw Jerome play. He got double and triple teamed, and it didn't make a difference to Jerome. So you know what? This kid has to become a playmaker, and right now he's not. And I think Harrison Hunt had a decent game too.
Yes, he did. Very good game. Good
call.
He
was in a lot of plays. So, but all right, let's move on. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk more about this matchup with Texas A&M. We got a lot coming up on this episode of Locked On Canes. Texas A&M, they've got a quarterback who looked fantastic in week 1 against New Mexico, Connor Wegman. They've got more weapons at wide receiver than they had last year. I also want to talk a little bit more about the Canes injury report because Mario Cristobal shed some light on that. I think the big question on everybody's mind, will tight end Elijah Arroyo be ready to play this week or not? And the plan has been revealed for how the Miami Hurricanes want to manage their quarterback red shirts. And that's contingent on one thing happening throughout the year. We got a lot coming up, my friends. You want to keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. I hope you're keeping it locked to Bird Dogs. I've got my Bird Dog shorts on today. Not only do they make me look great, but it's still very, very hot in South Florida, and they keep my legs cool. Bird Dog stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and give your leg a truly sculpted look. Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing that Lululemon shorts do, but they fit way better. Trust me, I've tried both, and they fit way better than those regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed that issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but it stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. And Bird Dogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. We need that down here. Bird Dogs are functional for any occasion. You want to go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege or enter promo code LockedOnCollege at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege for a free water bottle at checkout. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen. Thank you so much to the everydayers. And folks, make sure you plan your listening habits on Friday accordingly. College football season is here, and this season Locked On is kicking up our coverage with Locked On College Football Live. Every Friday, we go live from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on every Locked On College YouTube channel, including this one. We had the maiden voyage last week. I was part of it. It went awesome. College Football Kickoff Live will cover playoff implications, the conference rivalry games, and go in-depth like only Locked On can, including insights and analysis from our stable of Locked On College hosts. Find Locked On College Football Kickoff live every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, right here on this YouTube channel on Locked On Canes. Alex Donno alongside the truth teller, Bruce Warner. Bruce, thinking about the stock report heading into this weekend against Texas A&M, there's a couple guys I felt like the stock it stayed the same. I didn't really see movement one way or the other for Tyler Van Dyke. You talked about him having the tape on his finger. I think he's going to have that again this week. He managed the offense well. Miami, Ohio was giving the Hurricanes a lot of underneath stuff. Van Dyke was efficient. The interception was not good. That was only negative play for him. So for Tyler Van Dyke and Xavier Restrepo, who played well, we expect him to play well. Those are guys who played fine, but I don't see the stock necessarily rising or falling right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Look, they played a lot of kids. They got a lot of kids' feet wet. They played, and I saw a lot of true freshmen. And you watched the game on it. I watched it on television. The announcers, true freshmen, true freshmen, true freshmen, true freshmen. Not just the freshmen, they're true freshmen. And they were amazing. Those kids played really, really well. The transfer from Nebraska played well, too. He had a couple of nice runs. He didn't get a touchdown, but still. So, and that's one of your favorite picks. The kid's really
Allen.
good. Yeah. And so I look at this game coming up, and I still don't know. A&M won big. Petrino is in that booth. He's got a lot of weapons. Their defensive line is big and physical. I'm looking at the matchup, and after all these years of all this disappointment and no major wins since Notre Dame 6 years ago, it's kind of hard to look at the game side and think Miami's going to win. I think. Listen, I saw that the line went down from 7.5 to 4.
Yeah, it was the last I checked, it was 4.5. It was 7.5. Got all the way down to 3.5. It's around 4.5 or 4 right now. So money's definitely been coming in on Miami.
Right, that's true. Now I don't know whether I don't know because I'm not a gambler. I don't know, but I think Miami has to come out hot. Yeah. Now they really haven't done that much. They get hot during the game, but they need to come out. Look, they scored on the third play the other day. So to me, looking at this game, I think we're underdogs for the right reason. Our special teams have to be special. I would love to see a punt, a block field goal, a kick return or a punt return for a touchdown, something like that to give us the edge. We can't have turnovers. All the cliches apply to this game. And we have to be very, very physical, which we were on Friday night. But this team's not going to let up.
No.
And I'm sure Petrino's going to dial up all kinds of stuff that we haven't seen from Texas A&M. And I'm assuming that Dawson's doing the same thing because we're going to, and this is my feeling, I think we're going to come out throwing to set up the run, not the other way around. I think A&M's defense is going to be stacking that line to stop our big-time running game, which we showed the other day. But I don't know if we're going to stick to that plan. I think maybe Dawson will throw early, maybe go over the top, which we didn't do the other day at all.
Right.
And I think he wants to spread those guys out. So I would not be shocked if he come out throwing and then run the ball on second down or 3rd and 6, maybe run instead of pass. I think he's going to really try to disguise a lot of what he's doing. And a lot of the things we did last week will set up plays for Saturday. I'm hoping it's a good game. And the closer it is towards the end, I think we're going to win. I love our field goal kicker. The kid is damn accurate.
He's clutch.
He's damn accurate. So,
good. Yeah, and I
don't have a prediction yet, maybe at the end.
To your point, though, on the game plan, somebody who I'm buying stock low on just to keep that whole stock report theme going is Tyler Harrell. He had his first catch in a Miami uniform last weekend, wasn't utilized a whole much. I think this is a game where Harrell is going to be important, not only getting targets, but even at times as a decoy to stretch the field. Harrell is going to be super important this week. But, Bruce, I'm just thinking about watching, Texas A&M, they dismantled the New Mexico Lobos, and Miami dismantled the other Miami. And, from certain expectations I had watching A&M. We know they've got one of the deepest defensive lines in the entire country. They certainly showed that. Very strong defense overall. I guess what surprised me a little bit was just how vertical their passing game went in their opener. I thought their quarterback, Connor Wegman, looked even sharper than I expected him to. And they've got some real weapons, Bruce, at wide receiver, right? I mean, Miami faced Anais Smith last year, but this year you also have to go up against Evan Stewart and Noah Thomas, who were their top duo in that game. So Miami's defensive secondary is going to get tested a lot. But, Bruce, the key to winning this game is getting a consistent pass rush, because Connor Wegman did not see any sort of pass rush from New Mexico in that opening game. Lance Guidry, to be able to get consistent pressure even when you're not blitzing, that was one of kind of the hallmarks of his defense at Marshall, right? He's able to get creative looks and fronts and put pressure on without blitzing, because obviously you can't completely sell out and leave your cornerbacks on an island. So the Canes need to get constant pressure on that kid.
Yeah, that's why I said Leonard Taylor. This could be a breakout game for him.
Yeah.
He needs to go in there, and I don't care if there's 10 guys on him. He needs to get upfield. He needs to create pressure in the backfield. He needs to get this Wegman kid scrambling around, because we're going to disguise our defense way more than we did the other day. That was somewhat vanilla. And I expect him to see blitzes and guys coming after him from all angles. But I think Leonard Taylor is the key to this game. He's got to have his head on straight. Whenever he's on the field, he has got to go up the field and create pressure in the backfield. And I think he's going to do it. I happen to think this will be a breakout game for him.
Okay, I like it.
He needs it. He does need it. As far as our tight end Arroyo, I think he plays.
I hope so. Did you want to hear?
But I think he's going to play this week.
Yeah, I could read you what Mario Cristobal said. I was in the presser with Mario yesterday. We talked about Elijah Arroyo. Again, Cristobal, I don't think he wants to give Jimbo Fisher any sort of definite answer one way or another. Cristobal said, we expect he has a good chance to be available. It's progressing.
So he's not going to see. He would say, no, he's not playing. I think he's playing. Yeah. I don't know how much he's going to play, but when he's on the field, that gives him a weapon. Yeah. It's a mismatch for whether it's a linebacker or a safety on him. It's a mismatch. And I'm assuming if he's going to play, he's going to run hard. He's going to play hard. He can't be limping on the field. He's going to be okay. And I think that's critical, because we need that extra weapon on the field.
Right.
So I think we're going to see screens. We didn't see any last year.
Right. We saw a lot last week. Not last year. No, last week. Yeah. We saw a lot of.
And then now we're going to see some more here, because they're going to bring the heat.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be this is going to be a hell of a matchup. If we win this game, and I said it to you off the air before, who in their right mind would have thought after week one that the Canes fans would be thrilled to have Clemson on their schedule and not Duke? And who would have thought that? I thought that last night. I go, oh my God, we don't play Duke.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. That quarterback is damn good. They're well coached. They're physical. And Clemson looked like crap.
They look terrible. I mean, and listen, honestly, like I didn't think that it would catch up to them this quickly. And they have plenty of time to bounce back and have a good season. But losing to Duke in the opener the way that they did, that's embarrassing for a team that for, a period of 7-8 years was the juggernaut of the ACC, one of the juggernauts of college football. Clemson, they've not been utilizing the transfer portal. They've had a very World War II approach to NIL. Dabo Swinney basically ignores it. It's hurt them in recruiting. It's hurt them in the transfer portal. And
that's his stubbornness. If he's that stubborn about it.
Because look at Florida State. I mean, Florida State have been kings of the transfer portal for the last couple of years. Their recruiting is starting to come along. I mean, how many of their playmakers didn't even start their careers at Florida State? They got Keon Coleman scoring crazy touchdowns. I don't think Johnny Wilson started his career at Florida State. Neither did Jordan Travis. Yeah,
he transferred in last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, I think they're going to the playoffs. I don't really care. I mean, I don't know. God knows who I would root for if it was Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Florida State. I have no idea who I
probably root for Georgia.
I don't know. I hate Bama. I hate Ohio State. Yeah. Not a big fan of Florida State, but
I'd root for Georgia, and that's.
I'm more worried about Miami, and this is a critical game.
Yeah,
critical game. And I think we're going to beat Clemson now. Maybe at least I think we have a shot.
It's a home game.
Yeah, but Saturday is all about physicality, no bonehead plays. There was a couple of offensive lineman penalties. I think Inez had one or two.
Yeah.
No, Noah had.
Now we know it did too.
Noah had one that we know of. But on 3rd and 1, you can't have those things. Look what happened. Look what happened to LSU on the 1-yard line against Florida State. LSU's not good either. They're very overrated. So I think Miami's in the driver's seat. If we could win this game on Saturday, we're okay.
I like it.
And 9 or 10 wins and a bowl win, I don't care if Florida State goes all the way. Miami is still on their way, and we're going to get the recruits we need. And but we got to figure out. What?
Speaking of recruits, I've got the list, Bruce, on the other side from recruits who are attending. So I want to get to that, and also the plan on how Miami is going to redshirt their young quarterbacks. We got all that coming up. You want to keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. And folks, FanDuel, we were talking about those FanDuel odds. Miami plus 4.5-point underdogs now. Get ready for the NFL season as well coming up this week with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the time, the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can bet on everything from spreads to player props and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. And for the everydayers, if you want to take your everydayer experience to the next level, sign up for our exclusive SMS texting community on Subtext. I include the link in the show description below. You guys get show previews, breaking news, recruiting scoops, ask me one-on-one questions on there. You get text messages directly from my phone to yours. You can try it with the link in the show description below. Try it free for 14 days. And then if you like it, you can opt in for $4.99 a month. We give you a lot of added value on there. So, Bruce, huge, like you mentioned, huge weekend for recruiting. I don't think the list is finished yet because people have to remember 16, 17-year-old kids, they may make up their minds Thursday or Friday if they're coming to the game. But what we're looking at so far, courtesy of Gabby Urrutia from Inside the U, most of, or at least half of Miami's 2024 class, the committed guys are coming. But LJ McCray, 4-star edge rusher from Mainland High in Daytona Beach. You're competing with Florida for him. So it was good to see Florida get, wow. I'm not going to say embarrassed, but they looked pretty bad against Utah.
They're pretty bad.
They looked pretty bad against Utah. So that can only help you with someone like LJ McCray. And also a player I really like, 4-star tight end Tavion Galloway is going to be visiting. I really hope he ends up being the second tight end in this class. There's a bunch of 2025 guys, 5-star Armando Blunt, 5-star offensive lineman Solomon Thomas. Blunt is a defensive lineman. Our guy Luke Nickel, who's committed, the quarterback for 2025, is coming. Now, Bruce, one player who will not be there this weekend, I think he's going to make an in-season visit at some time, is Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith will be going to Ohio State this weekend. He's an Ohio State commit. Of course, Miami's trying to flip him. So I had speculated within the last week that Smith might be at the game against Texas A&M. He will not be, but there are some important visitors nonetheless.
Absolutely. Smith, I don't really know. You can't bank on this. Even if we have a great season, it's hard to not go to Ohio State for a kid like that. He's been committed for the longest time. So I don't know if he's playing us, but it doesn't really matter. We got a couple of good receivers. We got his teammate. We have Chance. We got guys that are going to be here that are going to be good. So I can't worry about him. I'm worried about how Miami plays. Now, you mentioned injuries. We talked about Arroyo. Did he say anything else? Anybody else injured in the game?
So only positive stuff. Cristobal was asked about Van Dyke, wearing the tape on his finger, and he kind of chuckled about it, Bruce. He said he's fine. He liked the tape on his finger when he tried it. So much was made of it when the media saw him with that. Cristobal said people talk like it was a prosthetic finger or something. I like that quote. He says, whatever makes him comfortable. We saw him throw the ball. There are no limits on what he can do. Cristobal says our training staff is very high-tech and cutting edge when they create some really unique ways to enhance the efficiency.
Some of his out passes were like floated out there. I didn't really see a zip.
Yeah, I didn't either.
They floated out there. I'm going, what's wrong? But it must be maybe that's why he didn't throw long, but they're going to throw long They've got to throw.
They've got to
get that defense off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought that there were some moments where his ball placement looked really good, but you're right about the zip and like the interception. It was not a good read on his part, but
Right.
it was also, if it had more zip, it might not have been intercepted. And by the way, on the interception, Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, humble guy, he tried to put it on him. He basically said that was not the right time and place for me to call that play. So he tried to deflect some of the blame off of Van Dyke. So that is what we're looking at, Bruce, for the injury report. He was also asked about Colbie Young, although, listen, I'm not concerned. I mean, Colbie Young left the game, but he returned to the game. So I figure if they were confident enough to put him back in a game that Miami was winning, it's not so bad. And Cristobal said, if I have the quote here, he's okay. He noted that he, took a shot to the leg, returned. He's been full go ever since. So I'm not worried about Colbie
So in
Young.
the offseason, we were talking about he had lost weight because when I went down there to the practices, you could see he looked a little slimmer and he looked a little quicker. And what did he do? He catches a pass and he takes off to the house.
Yeah.
Now, he couldn't do that last year.
No.
He couldn't. Now, when you have him and you got those other speedy guys, those are weapons. And I think George had a nice play or two. So when you look at it, he spread the ball around, and these guys. And the other thing is, I don't want to jinx anything. No drops.
0 drops. Wasn't that beautiful?
Yep.
Zero drops. And by the way, only 4 missed tackles, which is that's a really good number. Like, I know someone could say we should have 0 missed tackles, but only 4 missed tackles. Miami, I think there was only 1 game last year against a bad Virginia Tech team where they only missed 4 tackles. Outside of that, it's been a couple years since they've had that clean of a
double-digit missed tackles most of the games last year.
Yeah.
All right. So what else do you want to talk about?
Do you want to make a prediction, Bruce? That's the last thing I got. If I can put you on
you got to talk about. So you talk about the red shirts in the quarter.
Oh yes, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. So thank you. See, Bruce is my format right here. So all right, Shannon Dawson revealed. I don't know if it was intentional or non-intentional, but he basically revealed the plan for redshirting quarterbacks. Remember, Jacurri Brown didn't play at all in the opener. Emory Williams got in to throw a few passes. Dawson said he looked excellent.
He looks good. He looks off the receivers too.
Right. Dawson said about both of them, they're both here to play. Ultimately, I have 4 games to play with both of them, he said. I'm going to be very strategic with what I do with both of those guys. People can read into it whatever they want to read into, but I've got 4 games. Now, Jacurri Brown already announced on his Instagram that this is a redshirt year for him. But keep in mind, folks, this is not like the redshirt rules of 20 years ago. You can play in up to 4 games without burning the red shirt. So it seems like the plan is to use Jacurri up to 4 times, use Emory Williams up to 4 times. As long as Tyler Van Dyke stays healthy, that seems like a sound plan, Bruce. Preserve an extra year of eligibility for both of these guys.
Yeah, and I'll bet, I'd say bet, but I would argue that they will not play in the same game. They're going to play 4 separate games, not play at the same time because it's a waste. And everything is predicated on Tyler Van Dyke staying healthy because the plan goes in the tank if he goes down. Even if he gets hurt and he's out for like maybe a quarter, somebody else is going to have to go in there. And then when you get closer to the end of the season and these guys have already played 4 games, you could burn a shirt by doing if he gets hurt. But anyway, it's a good plan. I like the fact that Jacurri thinks that that's what he wants. He wants to be redshirted because they both have to get ready for next year. Both of them. Not one, both have to be ready for next year.
I mean, if he knows he's not the starter, so why not? Like, why not? Like, he couldn't redshirt last year because Van Dyke got hurt and Jake Garcia played pretty bad. So he had to play. He played in 8 games last year, so he burned the red shirt. Why not? All right, Bruce, I'm not going to let you off the hook here. Can you give me a prediction? Miami home against Texas A&M this Saturday. Who you got?
Well, this time I don't think they're going to score between 35 and 40. That's going to be a brutal physical game.
Okay.
And my key to the game will be the heat in the stadium.
Yeah.
I'm picking Miami to win 31-28 because I think A&M is going to not realize how damn hot it is still in South Florida. I think they're going to wear them down. Miami playing a lot of players. I hope I'm right, but I'm saying 31-28. Miami will get a signature win on Saturday afternoon and then get ready for the next couple of games, which they should win. but I'm not jumping the gun. I did say, and I'm still sticking to it, I think they're 5-0 going into the North Carolina game.
I love it. I put Bruce on the spot, but you guys are going to have to wait a couple more days for my prediction. I'm going to make my prediction
you
later.
Have another couple of days to think about this.
Hey, well, listen, later this week, we've got a big crossover episode with Andrew Stefaniak from Locked On Aggies. So when the two of us are on together, we're each going to give our predictions. You know, I wonder, he's probably picking A&M. Will I pick Miami? We will find out on Thursday. But Bruce Warner, the truth teller, job well done as always. Thank you, sir.
Hey, my pleasure, my friend. My pleasure.
I love it. We will talk to everyone next time. The Everydayers. We will be back tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.